So how do you know when you are a vibrational match to what is wanted? You feel great. You have clear mind. You feel enthusiasm. How do you know when you're opposing it? You don't feel so good. When you feel anger, you're not a match. When you feel defensive, you're not a match. When you feel bored, you're not a match. When you feel exhilaration, really a good match. When you feel love or appreciation, really good match. When you feel interest in something, you're a really good match, you see. So how is it that your emotions are such clear indicators, such clear, always accurate indicators? Because your emotions, like all of your senses, indicate the vibrational relationship between who you really are and what you've been asking for, and what your habit of thought, well, that's not really fair, what your in this moment thought, which may not be your habit. You might have just stumbled on it just now. You might be testing out that habit of thought. You might have heard it, someone might have said it, you might be repeating it, but for the most part, you're not coming up with new resistant thoughts. You've been carrying them around for a while. And the reason that you don't give them up easily is because you've been carrying them around for a while. So they've been your point of attraction for a while. So law of attraction's been giving you evidence of them for a while. So you have proven the validity of them to yourself. So you believe that it is real and you believe that it is true. So you keep repeating it. Because after all, you want to be truthful. Not. You don't want to be truthful about things not wanted. Esther argued with us in the beginning about that quite a bit. But Abraham, it's true. It's true. I'm only speaking the facts. I'm only speaking what is true. And we say there are a lot of true things that resonate with what you want. Focus on those true things. Because anything you focus upon, and this is the big words of the day, anything you focus upon, you will make your truth. Law of attraction will help you. Anything that you focus upon becomes your truth. So you just got to ask yourself, is this a truth I want to manifest? Is this a truth that I want to activate in my vibration? And the reason that we start there is because we want you to understand what the truth of your being really is. You were source energy before you came into this physical body, and the larger part of you still is that source energy being. And when you focus upon something that makes you feel fearful or angry or hateful, then you've activated within yourself something that is not active within the source within you. And that's why it feels so off. The feeling of hatred, or the feeling of meanness, or the feeling of defensiveness, or the feeling of fear, any of those negative emotions simply means, it's important, but it's simple. It simply means that what you're thinking about and how you're thinking about it is a differing opinion of how source within you is thinking about the same thing. Which leads us to a really important premise that most of you are not completely aware of, that we are completely aware of, that we would like you to be completely aware of. And that is the source within you, your inner being, that which man wants to call God, is focused with you in every moment and offering an opinion about what you are focused upon. So when you hate that guy and you feel awful in your hatred, it's because source loves that guy. And we know you think source is misguided. If source really knew the details, let me give you more details, source. I would like to tell you specifically why I feel justified in this. I am justified in this because I feel justified in this because I feel justified in this because it is something that I do not want. And I've come to believe that if I push hard enough against unwanted things, that in my pushing against unwanted things, I will obliterate them. And as I obliterate the unwanted things, in their absence, I will be left with something that I want. We know that you don't think that you are quite ready to give this vibrational approach your undivided attention. And we understand that because in truth, it would be better if you would get a job to soothe your financial concerns. You would be less contradictory in your vibration if you were not worried about money.
Okay.
So if you could build a bridge that says, this is a temporary thing that I'm doing, in order to hold myself in a place that I can keep my promises to my creditors and that I can satisfy myself with the things that I want. And that more and more a satisfying way for money to flow will come to me. Because if you stand in a place where you say, I want more money, but I'm unwilling to do the action things that I know that bring money, now it isn't the action or the non-action, it's the contradiction in the energy. I want this, but I'm not willing. But when you say, I want this, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to come into alignment to get what I want, there's a helpfulness in that willingness. But then you say, but I'm contradicting myself because, Abraham, you're teaching me that I can do this through the power of thought. And we tried to clear that up with you in the first moment that you said that. We're not teaching you that action is not part of it. We're teaching you that action isn't the most important part of it, that the alignment is, and that it's possible for you to come into alignment so that the action that is then required of you by the filling of the vortex into the grid is action that you will be really thrilled in the offering of. There isn't one of you who doesn't want to act. You do. You want to act. And there isn't one of you who wouldn't revel in inspired action over required action. They are very different actions. But if you don't take the time to do the grid work, the inspired action doesn't come. And when it's required action, you get burned out really, really fast. Yes. But when it's inspired action, then you can't stay up long enough and you can't get up early enough and you can't talk about it enough, you see. When it's inspired action, the whole of the universe is flowing with you into this poignant moment. Most humans do not allow themselves the feeling of standing in a moment in time, focused upon something that they care about, having cleaned up their vibration so that the energy that creates worlds is flowing through them in this moment, so that every intelligent consciousness that knows anything about what you're talking about or thinking about or engaging about is flowing with you and through you in that moment. That is co-creation at its best, you see. But you got to line up with that energy. And you got to know when you're not lined up with it and know when you are lined up with it, and then just keep leaning toward the lined up with it until after a while it becomes really easy. You can tell the offness of something almost instantaneously. If this moment in time, with this contrasting experience, if you can stop beating up on yourself because you didn't get it right the first crack out of the box, if instead you can say, oh, this didn't go the way I wanted it to, but it's all right because I'm still standing here evaluating contrast. That's the peace that we're wanting you to find in this. So often, as you listen to us for a while, and you want to be deliberate creators, and you want to do the grid work, and you tried to get in the vortex, and you're trying to pay attention to the way you feel, and you're making an effort to be more the person that you want to be. And then when something that you thought you wanted doesn't turn out right now the way you wanted it to, then that second guessing starts happening. Then you start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? And if instead you can say, I didn't do anything wrong, this contrast is part of what's right. This contrast is part of the clarifying thing. It's part of the clarification that is helping me to identify more clearly what it is I do want. If we could just convince you that you want a creative plethora of opportunities to pull from. You don't want limited ones. And the contrast is just filling in the colors and the textures and the opportunities, you see. If we could zap you with something, and of course we can't, but we can know it so strongly that as you're willing to listen to us for a while, you'll begin to get it. You are in a really, really good place. You're asking really, really good questions. Your desire is really focused in a strong way. And this conversation that we've had, which was solely offered to soothe any angst you have about being in a wrong place, that's what every process that we've ever offered has always been about, to soothe your angst about any wrongness that you've done, because you're not doing anything wrong by standing in a place you don't want to stand in. When you're standing in a place you don't want to stand in, you're firing off rockets that are going to serve you. And if you can revel in the contrast and appreciate the variety, instead of condemning your lack of wisdom to be in a better place right here and right now, if we could parade before you just the masters that you have revered as a culture, every one of them would tell you, I wouldn't give up one miserable moment, because every one of them helped me become who I ultimately am. We've enjoyed this interaction more than words can explain, and we've been way out there on the leading edge. We want to compliment you on your willingness to sit and listen to us talk incessantly about the laws of the universe and about the emotions that move through you. We know for sure that as a result of your willingness to just listen, that your vibration has been moved to a different place than it was before we had this conversation. It only takes 17 seconds of non-diluted focus in order to shift vibration, and you have been giving far more than that. 68 seconds of holding yourself in a vibration of well-being will shift your vibration, your point of attraction dramatically enough that that grid must fill in and must fill in today. So we're looking forward to the evidence that you will discover of this energy shift that has taken place as a result of this conversation. You could be unaware of law of attraction. You could have never heard of Abraham or the teachings of Abraham. You could not be making any effort to focus yourself into the things that you want. And you could live happily ever after, because it is the nature of this time-space reality that you live within. In other words, you don't need to know this in order to live well, nor do the people around you. But you are deliberate creators. And there is nothing more exhilarating for deliberate creators than to get your thoughts around what you can specifically do, how you can specifically mold the energy in order to get the results that you want. Because creators want to explore and decide and define the newness that you're reaching for. And then deliberate creators want to find a way of vibrationally allowing that which you've asked for. And nothing is more delicious than then allowing the universe to surprise and delight you in all of the ways that it will. It is our desire that as this grid fills in, and it will, it is our promise to you, that as it fills in, that you take note of the important part that you play in this deciphering process. We want you to feel happy about who you are and pleased that you have come to decide and to ask anew. We want you to feel the appreciation that Source feels for you in the part that you play here. If it were not for you out here on this leading edge, thought would not move beyond that which it is. That's big. If it were not for you participating with one another, you would not be creating vortexes that would be the nucleus or the starting place of the generations that are being born. If it were not for your willingness to explore the contrast and reach toward that which is new, there would be no expansion of the universe. In other words, the part you play is important. But not one of you said, I will sacrifice my joy to play this important role. Not one of you said that. And when you get back to the basics of caring about how you feel and reaching for these general feelings of well-being, you will be rewarded as you have intended to be with the manifestations that you have carved out of this time-space reality. Yes, of course, future generations are going to benefit mightily by your participation here and now. But you are supposed to benefit too, and now. And there is no joy that is greater for us to experience than your conscious acknowledgement of your alignment with that which is us. When you feel that joy radiating through you, we want you to know that what you've discovered is a path to the momentum of the joy that we all feel for you. And when you get there, stop and revel in that just a little bit and acknowledge the good job you've done of getting out of the way and allowing the joy that is natural to you. We spoke a lot of words here today, and you heard almost all of them. We moved a lot of energy here today, and you felt a lot of it. The energy moved significantly here today. It might be leaving you feeling a little like you've had a workout. But what's coming in the next few days, watch for it. It is our promise that it will be evident to you. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain stubbornly, joyously, expectantly, decidedly, emphatically, determinedly in the vortex.